You know what I watched for the first time last week? You're going to be mad at me. Shawshank Redemption.
For the first time?
For the first time, I watched it last week.
Please tell me like you did it right and you started it from the beginning, because it's always on TV.
I watched it on the flight, like half of it going where I was going and then half of it
Oh my God, the disrespect.
What do you want me to pull it up in IMAX? I have Friday nights at home. I'm watching tape.
Pull it up in IMAX is a good line, though. The chat cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. A very wholesome one from Tony Lee. Said, love the safety talk, long overdue. Just want to shout out the Addicts, especially Peter and Bryce. Love seeing them in the chat. Such an amazing community.
That's true. That is very true. Well, that's good. And we appreciate you, Tony, as well. You're in here every single episode. Benjamin gave us a $20 super chat, said, shout out from New Hampshire. This is my monthly reminder that you guys, hosts and addicts, are awesome. Been an NFLSE subscriber for 2 years, PSFF subscriber for a year. Can't get enough. Good luck on 75K. Hope the Vikings grab one of these safeties. Well, we appreciate you, Benjamin. Thank you for rocking with us. We'd love to have you as part of the Addicts here. And then Bryce gave us a 1999 one. Where was it? I got to scroll up here.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Sending this in from the hospital, so hoping this episode could bring my spirits up. Unfortunately, I was brutally assaulted with a steel chair last week, and I'm just coming back to consciousness.
I don't know how much of that is trolling, if it's not, I hope that it was from Hell in a Cell Thursdays.
Bryce found himself in line to take on the hardcore champion, and when you have that opportunity,
anytime you got a shot at the title.
Anytime somebody holds up the hardcore title, that was like all the weird. It was like one of the coolest belts.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody held that in front of Bryce's face, and he was like, "Screw it, I'm in, honey. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be home late. The hardcore title is on the line." I was looking to see if there was a start bench cut in here. That's what the one I would stay for. I know we might have missed one too recently. We're trying to get back to.
Dude, if we didn't have a start bench cut. Oh wait, okay, yeah. Axelron gave us a.
There it is.
Or Axelron, sorry, gave us a $2 one.
Love it. It's always Axelron.
Start bench cut. Samurais, Vikings, Knights.
Okay, so this for me is actually in that exact order. I'm starting Samurais. Now, is he talking about like to win a fight, or what I prefer, what I find the coolest? Because I find the coolest.
What do you mean prefer? What is this, an appetizer?
Like, no. You play like a samurai game, or you watch the show Vikings, or people, you know what I mean? An appetizer. I'm gonna still go with it. Starting samurai.
No, okay, hold on. I think you got to do this off of fighting style, warrior style. I'm Viking, samurai, and then knight. I'm starting Viking, benching samurai, cutting knights.
I'm starting samurai, benching Vikings, cutting knights. I think the samurai have more brain power to beat the Vikings that really just fought like barbarians. While they were bigger and stronger most of the time, they really had no strategy. They were just brutes. Where the samurai actually had like tactics and skill.
Somebody never watched the show Vikings.
I did. So how long did you make it?
0 episodes. I was trolling.
Oh my God, dude. You don't watch anything. You just know the references.
Hey, you know what I watched? You know what I watched for the first time last week? You're gonna be mad at me. You're gonna be so mad at me that this is it. You're gonna get off after this.
I am.
Shawshank Redemption.
For the first time?
For the first time, I watched it last week.
Please tell me like you did it right and you started it from the beginning, because it's always on TV. It's always on TV.
No, I watched it on the flight, like half of it going where I was going, and then half of it.
Watch it on a plain screen. Oh my God, the disrespect.
What am I supposed? What do you want me to? What do you want me to pull it up in IMAX?
Spend a Friday night at home on the TV.
I have Friday nights at home. I'm watching tape.
Pull it up in IMAX.
How do you think I'm doing this show?
Pull it up in IMAX is a good line, though. Hey, you want to fire up the IMAX? Oh God.
Bring your own IMAX at the theater. Actually, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Shawshank Redemption for the first time in your 30s on a plane.
Yeah.
How
in
is
2026?
I've never seen something more in my life than I watched it for the 600th time last weekend because it was on TV, and I will never shut off Shawshank Redemption. So what'd you think? Did you like it?
It was a great movie. Phenomenal movie.
It's probably
Yes.
the greatest movie, if not top 5 of all time. The chat cannot believe this. I cannot.
I'm not even looking. I'm not even
this.
looking at the chat. I'm not even looking at the
How
chat
you
right now.
it's one of those things that like you run into by accident all the time. It's always on TV.
I never watched it on TV because I didn't want to start it in the middle of it. And then that was my approach for 25 years.
Oh my God. It's unreal. Pull it up in IMAX.
Hey everybody, hope you guys are enjoying the episode. And if you've enjoyed anything that we've done here on the NFL Stock Exchange, we would love for you guys to be a part of the NFLSE Draft Addicts. And the way you do that is by subscribing to the show. It's a free and easy way to help support the show. And we've got a big campaign going on right now. We're trying to reach 75K subs by the time the draft rolls around. So if you enjoy the mock drafts, the player rankings, the team-specific mocks, the team-specific boards, all that great stuff and so much more, we would love for you to be subscribed. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Let's get back to the episode. Preston, $5 super chat. Finished my Cisse eval. Brandon Cisse, the cornerback from South Carolina. Great program, by the way. Why is he not a top 20 guy? I think his ceiling is excellent in the long term, and most of his flaws are fixable with coaching. I agree completely. Now, I don't think he's not going to be top 20 for me, but I do like Brandon Cisse a lot. I think he's got really twitchy, fluid, explosive movement skills, and that's what I care about most at corner. He's also a young player. He's just a true junior coming out. So I like Brandon Cisse more than I feel like a lot of other people do. A lot of people are looking at him as a finished product, and I don't see him that way. So I would be okay taking him back into the first round. Not top 20, but back into the first round, early part of the second round. Oh, sure. The chef's saying that we missed a couple here, so I just want to make sure that we get those. Vinny, $5 super chat. Hey guys, you don't have to read this on the show, but would you ever consider doing a mock rookie dynasty draft episode? Yeah, we would consider doing this. I feel like we have a close connection with the Devy fantasy football community, and so I think that we could probably do something like that during the summer. Yeah, I think so, Vinny. Jacob, $10 super chat. Going back to therapy starting next month, boys. Thanks for talking about mental health as much as y'all do. Much love. Well, Jacob, I really hope that you have a great therapist, because I really do think that taking the step, going to therapy, and having a great therapist, I want to make sure that I say that too. Some people, I've had the therapy conversation with them and been like, man, I had a bad experience with therapy. I didn't have a good therapist. You definitely got to find the right one. And I feel for people who really go out on a limb, start therapy, and maybe the first therapist that they found is just not a good match for them. I've had a couple of different ones, and the one that I have now, I absolutely love, really relate to him a ton. And I think that sometimes it is a little bit of a journey like that. But again, we posted, especially when the Rondale Moore stuff came out, we posted some of those portals and resources for you guys to take advantage of, to make sure that you can kind of look around at different therapists, and hopefully, you get an introduction call. That's what happened with me with the guy that I'm with now, and had an introductory call, and I kind of talked about him, what I'm going through and everything. He's like, okay, yeah, I think I'm a good fit for this, and so hopefully that's a good way where you guys could go through it. But Jacob, proud of you for starting therapy, and I hope it goes great for you. Ricky, I prefer Dylan Thieneman. You guys like Halsey. Who's a better fit for the Jets and why? At 16, I would tell you that Thieneman's a better fit for the New York Jets, although I think both of those guys would be. It kind of depends on exactly what Aaron Glenn wants to do on the back end, but I think there's a world where both of those guys could be Jets fits, kind of thinking about what the Lions did a couple of years ago. I think that there's a world where they carve out that robber role for Halsey if they have him, and then really just allow Thieneman to play from depth at a really high level. So, Ricky, I think both are fits, but at 16, definitely Dylan Thieneman, in my opinion. Odd Estime said, good news, everyone. Okay, I think we're caught up now. Good news, everyone. It's finally happened. The trash known as Chimichurri has left the building, just like Mike Evans. Thoughts on the Waddle trade? LOL. You're lucky I'm giving you anything here, Odd Estime. I think it was a high price to pay for the Denver Broncos to go get Waddle, but that is a type of player that I think really helps them out. I do. Oh, wow. We doing this now? We getting into it? Okay, fine. Let's do it. 3-round mock draft here for the Miami Dolphins. Let's get into it. Hold on. I gotta make sure that this is full screen here. This is post Waddle trade. So Jalen Waddle traded for the, oh my gosh, what number was it? 30th overall pick, and then some extra day 2 capital as well for them. So they got an extra 3rd round pick. All in all, they have 7 picks now in the top 100. So let's run a quick little 3-round Miami Dolphins mock draft and see what we got here. So we're here at number 11 overall. Dylan Thieneman is here. I really like that option for them as well. They need to get better in the secondary. I am tempted to go offensive line because I think that Jeff Hafley talked a lot about wanting to get better at the offensive line. They signed Jamari Sawyer, but I think he is more of a guard for them. That leaves Jonas Savanaia to play the other guard spot, and he struggled a lot for them last year. Ultimately, though, I think I like the idea of going Dylan Thieneman to be a playmaker on the back end, but man, what if they're okay with Spencer Fano playing at guard? Man. You know what? Hafley emphasized the trenches so much. Let's go with Spencer Fano here. Let's take Spencer Fano and see what else we can get a little bit later. So here at number 30, now we've got the offensive lineman pick. Now I'm kind of looking at see, we have a corner. Avion Terrell, I think, would be really nice for this team. Colton Hood here as well. I don't think they go interior defensive line with Christian Miller. I think there was maybe TJ Parker, but TJ Parker I think is a really solid player. Does he give them the pass rush that they really want? I'm not sure. Can I see cornerbacks? Let me see corners, Tyler. Man, I just feel like there's so many picks to be had where we can get a good corner that I almost want to go TJ Parker here just to get the edge rusher. Let's go back to the main board. Yeah, okay, so we got the main board here. You could go Casey Concepcion. Although I feel like wide receiver, a sweet spot might be there at 43. I like some of the wide receivers that I feel like we'll be able to get at like 75, 87. Let's go TJ Parker here. I'm going to go Parker. I think you need to get better at edge rusher. So we'll go Parker here. And then at 43, yeah, see, this is where I think we go corner, right? Brandon Cisse is available. Chris Johnson's available. I like Brandon Cisse a good amount, so I would take Brandon Cisse here, but I could see people, talking about maybe Chris Bell as a wide receiver option as well. If we didn't go offensive line yet, we got Chase Besantis to be able to think about at one of those spots. AJ Halsey is still here, so actually, in the spirit of the safety episode, I kind of like the idea of taking Halsey here at 43 because there are more corners that I like from a depth perspective for Miami. So let's go AJ Halsey here. So Spencer Fano addresses the offensive line. It makes the offensive line a little bit better. TJ Parker gives you another edge rusher who can really hold the line of scrimmage and play pretty strong for you in that defense. And then AJ Halsey, I think immediately is a starting center for you, or sorry, safety for you. Now, see, this is exactly what I wanted to get to here with them. I think they need a tight end, so Max Clare could be on the table, but specifically corner. Davison Igbinosun is a risk in my opinion because of how many penalties he has had over the last couple of years for Ohio State, but he has gotten better and he does give you the ability to play that man coverage. So let's take Igbinosun here. I might even double dip on corner over the next 4 picks that we have. Oh man, Kieran Crawford is also a really good option for them. Let's see. Make sure I'm pull up the depth chart, making sure I'm not really forgetting anybody. Where are we at with wide receiver? Is there a wide receiver that's left to feel good about? I don't see any ones at the top of the list. No, I think I can get those guys a little bit later because we just didn't hit wide receiver early. Tight end, although Sam Rao should be good for them, but I don't think I'd take him over the other corners that are left. Like Dalen Everett, I like him as an option. Let's go Dalen Everett because then we're adding two bigger, longer man coverage corners, which we really, really need to make sure that we revamp here. So and Jason Marshall Jr. was playing in the slot. So now if you have Igbinosun, if you have Dalen Everett, and then if you have Jason Marshall Jr., those are 3 really big corners that I think you could feel pretty good about. So let's go Dalen Everett here. Sam Roush is still here. I think now now I feel like we might as well take Sam Roush because he can play on the line of scrimmage for you. That allows you to open things up for Greg Dulcich, who I don't know if he's the long-term answer for them at tight end anyways. They need somebody to play on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, let's go Sam Roush. I like Sam Roush there, the tight end from Stanford. He can play on the line of scrimmage for you. And then for a wide receiver, Malachi Fields, Deshaun Stribling. I think either of those guys. Let's go with Stribling. We pick Fields a lot, and Stribling I feel like is a really nice Z receiver, somebody who could kind of do it all for them. Good contested catch player. You see the yards per route run numbers there. I think he came on really strong, especially towards the end of the season there for Ole Miss. So let's go with Deshaun Stribling to actually get a wide receiver in there. But yeah, I feel pretty strong about this Dolphins draft. I feel like they're going to emphasize the trenches. I know secondary is a big issue for them right now, but I think they're going to emphasize the trenches because I think that's the way Hafley wants to build it. But Spencer Fano in the first round, along with TJ Parker. Then you're going back to back to back secondary additions with AJ Halsey, Davison Igbinosun, and Dalen Everett, which if you throw Jason Marshall Jr. in there as well, I think that's a really nice revamped secondary. Sam Roush gets to be our on the line of scrimmage, inline tight end, and then Stribling some extra talent that we've got there at wide receiver. So, yeah, there we go. That's the 3-round mock draft for the Dolphins now that Jalen Waddle is a member of the Denver Broncos. So here we go. Back to the Super Chats. Let's see. Where were we here? From Samuel, $10 Super Chat. Where would you guys put last year's receiver prospects like Tet, Travis, and Igbuka into this year's rankings? I would have Tet wide receiver 1. I would probably have Travis Hunter number 2. I would have Jordan Tyson 3. I would probably have Emeka Egbuka 4, and then I have Mekhi Lemon 5. That's probably how I would go about that. Nicole, $10 Super Chat. Very important. Did you see the Uncrustable Sunday that the Phillies stadium will have at games next year? Also tried to send this like 5 times. We'll see if you now have $50. Well, I appreciate the Super Chat, Nicole. I did not see this, but this sounds right up our alley. Maybe we need to try this on an NFLSE field trip for science, or if any addicts out there are Phillies fans, which, Nicole, I'm not sure if you are a Phillies fan or not, but like anybody who goes to the stadium and tries this, please tweet it at us, and we'll obviously interact and retweet with it because we got to get your take on it. Garrett, $10 Super Chat. New member of the show. Well, welcome, Garrett. You guys are great. The Vikings pick at 18 right now. Can you give me 3 names that you think that they will lean, and do you think that Kyler saves us? I think Kyler's an interesting ad there for that system. He really hasn't run that sort of Kyle Shanahan, which is Kevin O'Connell type of offensive system before. But I think that he could be good at it because I do think that Kyler is talented. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is an option there at 18. I think that Dylan Thieneman is as well. I think Caden McDonald could be. I don't think Lee Hunter, maybe Caleb Banks as well, but I think they go interior defensive line or safety there with that number 18 pick. Let's see. SX said $5 Super Chat. I have a picture of me and him, and I'll put it in the Discord. Him and Austin Corbett as AKA the babysitter. We would love that, which also shout out the NFLSE Discord. If you guys aren't in that yet, we got the link to join it in the description of this episode. Tyler, $2 Super Chat. A little NFLSE to cheer me up after the Seattle loss. They were, up 11 on Duke at halftime? I barely paid attention today, but I did see that they were up 11. Chuba with the $2 Super Chat telling us how to correctly pronounce Nevada and Chicago. Said Midwestern accent rules. It does indeed. RKDO, $5 Super Chat. Cold open with Safeway talked during the Safe Ties episode. Safe Teas episode. Is very synergetic. Yes, it was indeed. Leon, the $10 Super Chat. Long-time listener, no-time chatter. Wow, just wanted to say I'm glad that I found my home after hearing that Trev loves Final Fantasy X and, of course, Destiny as well. What was your Destiny class? Hashtag Warlocks. Hashtag Kimari is useless. That's funny. I was initially a Hunter main. Like, I love the Hunter movements. I was running Last Word with a Hunter for a majority of the beginning part of me playing Destiny, but then when the meta basically switched to where if you're not running Warlock, you're not going to win in Trials, I became a Warlock main. So shout out Destiny, the GOAT game. Mike, $5 Super Chat. Happy to catch a live stream squirts, which there's a comma. Just make sure everybody knows it's live stream, comma, squirts. He was telling us that we're squirts, just so everybody's clear out there and we don't get banned here on this show. Trev, when do we get player bios for PFF on our mock drafts? I am in peak drafting on the clock at work mode. Hopefully those are coming soon. We're trying to work through it as fast as possible, but we appreciate you using the PFF mock draft simulator. We're trying to get as much in there as possible. Sup, UMBC and FGCU. Is that an insult? Can't remember. If a Cam Newton physical profile prospect has a Joe Burrow season entering his true freshman year, sits out the next 2 seasons and declares for the draft, where is he getting drafted? In the top 3. Probably. We haven't seen it yet, but I think that's probably coming at some point. Sam, $5 super chat. I'm feeling the Rams go quarterback on day 3. I'm thinking Drew Aller. He can learn from one of the only pure pocket quarterbacks left. 2 years to refine the footwork accuracy, etc. I don't hate that landing spot. I like the Rams as a landing spot for Drew Aller because I do think that he has a lot of things to work on. Not Emmanuel McNeil Warren, a Bear. No. Now you guys got me so messed up. I thought I was saying even more in my head. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, is he a Bear? Question mark. $2 super chat. I'm broken today. You just got to live with me. No, probably not. Although potentially. That's my answer there. I think they're going to look to interior defensive line, but could certainly look safety. Trinidaddy, still feel for you, Trevor, about the Mike Evans thing. When Revis left the Jets and eventually ended up in New England, I was sick. Evans probably meant so much having won a ring. Evans is a franchise legend. He is a Mount Rushmore member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it is absolutely brutal that it came to this and that he left, especially the way that he did, because I think he was sick of the owners. He didn't want to play for Todd Bowles anymore, and yeah, that sucks. Except with the high movie costs on Lewis Moore. Bryce, $5 super chat. The Mountain would have 30-inch arms if he was at the combine. I agree. That is true. We got a big combine at it again. $5 from Olszewski. F Safeway. Man, you got to love safety breakdowns. I miss these. Well, hopefully it lived up to the hype there. Scepter, $2 super chat. Big arm measuring must be held accountable. I agree. They will pay for their crimes. Andrew, $5 super chat. Popping in to say that I blame Connor for the World Baseball Classic because McLean doesn't make the roster without that nickname. Could be true. Could be true. I don't know anything about this situation. I just was watching the World Baseball Classic from afar. Enjoying it from afar, but baseball's not really much work. Class Clown, $5 super chat. Finally caught a live stream. Hitting a girthy chest day as we speak. Best kind. Who should be the top 3 prospects the Bengals are looking for at number 10? Reuben Bain Jr., Dylan Thieneman, Caleb Downs. One of those 3 players, I think, are the main ones that you think about there if you are the Cincinnati Bengals. Sports Debate Arena, $2 super chat. Who do you two think is the best ball hawk in this class? I think it's AJ Halsey. From a ball skills perspective, even though he doesn't have the best range and coverage, McNeil Warren honestly might be the best when it comes to like athletic traits and then also ball production as well. Ricky, $5. Halsey drops 1 spot for wearing Mark Wahlberg's shoulder pads from Invincible in that picture. Can we pull that up, Tyler? Do you have that? What was the picture? No, he's AJ Halsey, not McNeil Warren. What was the shoulder pads? Do we have that one? Oh. They're up there, baby. He needs the pads because he's laying the lumber. Donut Dojo, $5 super chat. Hey, Deuce Vaughns. Wow, topical. I like that one. Connor, thank you for helping me with my English project. I just found out I got it in my dream school. Michigan, go blue. Ho, let's go, Donut Dojo. Congratulations. That's awesome. Very, very happy for you. Let's see. Tony Lee gave us that one. Matt Jensen, $5 super chat. Hey, Connor, saw you on NBC. Called Denzel Boston. Denzel Washington. Is that a new nickname incoming? The Equalizer, actually. That's awesome. I love that. Tyler, $2 super chat. Draft hot take. Christian Miller, DT1. Not a hot take. And we'll get to that for the defensive tackle episode next week. Start bench cut for Connor. Chris, Joe, Trevor, go. Oh, these are he's saying the co-host. Well, I'm glad that he can't answer this because I'm gonna say start me. No, I'm just kidding. Chris, Joe are awesome. Those are awesome dudes. So I'm not gonna go there. Rick, $10 super chat, longtime fan of the show. Not a stand for Safeway, but there's been too much hate. 7 out of 10. Assuming edge round one, I say 7 out of 10 for Safeway. Assuming edge round 1, if you had to pick a few round 3 or 4 offensive guards or wide receivers for the Chargers to add, who could start and majorly contribute year 1, which is tough to do round 3 and 4. But, some offensive guards, I mean, it kind of depends. If they want to get more power rush game, it's Keelan Rutledge. It's maybe Jeremiah Wright as well from Auburn. Those two guys, I think, are the ones who immediately come to my mind for offensive guards. For wide receivers, again, it kind of just depends on what type of wide receiver you want. Like if they want a bigger one, it's Ted Hurst or Malachi Fields. If you want somebody who's more like shifty or in the slot, it's Zachariah Branch, it's Deion Burks, it's Antonio Williams, those kinds of players. So those are a handful of names, but it kind of just depends on where they think their weakness is in that room because they've got a pretty well-rounded room. I know they don't have that star receiver, but they've got a pretty well-rounded room there. CT just gave us a $1 donation. Thanks for the donation. This one's from Dylan. Huge fan of you all. I think edge is an underrated need for the Seahawks. We lack a true difference maker there. When I think of the Seahawks, I do think of like a more powerful defensive line. I think that they are a pass rush unit that is more of the collective instead of just like one individual pass rush winner, right? I think of DeMarcus Lawrence, I think of Leonard Williams, I think of what Derek Hall was for them in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, like when you think of Derek Hall, you don't think, wow, he's this major difference maker of a pass rusher, and yet because of how much beef and strength and threat, honestly, they had throughout their defensive line, a lot of these other guys, especially from the outside linebacker level or the linebacker level, they were able to create a lot of pressure. So I don't know how much I would say that it's like a heavy need. See if I'm forgetting anybody on the defensive line. But I see what the point that Dylan is making. Because it's Lawrence, it's Leonard Williams, it's Byron Murphy. You have Uchenna Nwosu. I mentioned Derek Hall. So they got bodies. But yeah, I mean, I could see them going best player available approach if an edge rusher is there at 32. Like, is this a Malachi Lawrence spot, right, at the back end of the first round? I wonder if that's the case. Is it a R. Mason Thomas sort of a spot there? Gabe Akis, I think, is their type, but he's sort of a little bit of like what they already have, but maybe they like that. Maybe they just want more edge rushers in the room. So it's a good shout out by Dylan. I don't think it's their heaviest need, but I do think it's one that could be possible if they go PPA. There, Andrew, if I hear any Jalen Hurts slander, I'm unsubscribing from NFLSE. Your move, Marcus. Well, we didn't get any Jalen Hurts slander in the show. Full 2 hours, no Jalen Hurts slander. Means you got to stay subscribed, Andrew. That's what that says to me. Football analysis, a.k.a. Garrett Greenlee. Shout out to Garrett. Said, what's up, small fries? Can you ask Marcus how it feels to be defeated in 2026? 0-2. This is because Garrett is a Vikings fan and Marcus is a Green Bay fan. I'm assuming that he just says that the Vikings are going to beat the Green Bay Packers twice this upcoming season, which we shall see. I don't remember. What did they finish last year? What was the split last year in 2025? Oh, was it? It was split. Yeah, in 2025. We got one win by each team. I don't know, Garrett. I don't know. Sweep? Doesn't happen often in that division. It's one of the best divisions in football. But appreciate the super chat, my friend. This one's from Panthers fan. Harris Teeter mentioned Ron. $10 super chat for that. Shout out Harris Teeter. I'm a Publix lifer. But I do like Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter is a good grocery store, and I shop there quite often because there's one very close to my house. So shout out Harris Teeter. This one's from Jonathan. $10 super chat. Marcus thinks of Jonah Coleman the way that the chat thinks of Safeway. It kind of sounded like it. I'm not going to lie. That is kind of what it sounded like to me, which is that's too much Jonah Coleman slander for my taste. I still think, and I believe Connor still thinks, I don't want to speak for him, but I think we both still have Jonah Coleman at least a top 3 back in this class. I wonder if Connor has Jadarian Price still RB2, but I got Coleman RB2, so I'm at least up there. Andrew, $5 super chat. Missed the Safeway convo last time. Lots of them in Arizona. Sorry to demonetize the video, but it's bad. It's the words that are on the screen. I'm paraphrasing here. It's bad. Fries clears. See, I don't know what fries is. Now we're getting into a multi-nation sea to shining sea grocery store wars on this show that we didn't think that we were getting into. But now we're knee deep into it. So now I guess we got to be prepared for it. Now we got to do our research on fries. I don't even know what a fries is. And you guys can tell me. Tell me in the comments. Does fries clear Safeway? As that super chat said. TK, $5 super chat. Just joined the stream. Have Marcus and Trevor gotten into a boxing match over Sonny Styles yet? So we did obviously have the Sonny Styles conversation. And for anybody that missed that one, you can go back and you watch the episode. But I think it really just comes down to we fundamentally see the player different. Like Marcus, I can totally understand how he gets to being more skeptical of Sonny Styles because he didn't see him as this, always elite run defender. Felt like his run IDs were up and down. I just don't see that with Styles. I see him so often, I feel like, be ahead of where the run game is going and he's able to cut things off. And I think that they ask him a very, very tough job in the middle of that Ohio State defense because there are times when he has to make up for not only a blocker, but also covering a gap before, a secondary player can come in and fit the run as well. So I think they ask a lot of Sonny Styles, and I think he is up to the task most of that time. I was super impressed with him in that area, and Marcus just wasn't from either the games that he watched or just the perception of how he was watching. And so fundamentally, when you talk about the linebacker position and the overall draft value of how highly do you take that, if Marcus does not see Sonny Styles as a special linebacker prospect, which he does not, no, you're not going to draft him very high. And I totally understand his logic of thinking there, but I just see the player different. I am much higher on the player than he is, and I think that's where the difference comes from with the two of us. Let's see. Thomas. Hey, Trevor, is it possible for the Bucs to trade up for Sonny Styles, and should they? It's possible. They're not going to. I don't think that it's a reality worth sort of pouring a lot of brain power into, because in order to draft Sonny Styles, I think at the very least you would have to get in front of the Giants at 5, and at that point, you're talking about the Bucs jumping up from 15. You're giving up at least next year's first-round pick. Jason Light does not do that. He's not going to do it. He won't. He won't do it for almost any prospect. He certainly is not going to do it for an off-ball linebacker, even as much as they need an off-ball linebacker. So I would love Sonny Styles in the Buccaneers. It's just not going to happen. It would take too much for them to trade up and get to that point. RKDO, Raiders fan here. Marcus, come back anytime. Oh, I think that was because Marcus was saying that we should extend it into the second round to make sure that we give Raiders fans something to watch at the end of the draft instead of just drafting Fernando Mendoza. So I'm glad that we did that. It was a great shout out by Marcus to be able to get into the beginning of the second round a little bit and pick again for the Raiders. So I like that one. Trinidad gave us a $10 super chat, said, heard from someone, I'm assuming, that Emmanuel Pregnon was built like Blastoise, and I haven't been the same since. That was our good friend Tyler Brook, who has a great YouTube channel as well, where he is covering the NFL Draft 365 as well. I believe it's the best available YouTube channel is what his show is called. And yeah, man, I mean, Tyler's awesome. He's got a great eye for the game of football. He's got a great eye for scouting, great eye for prospects, and obviously a great eye for Pokemon as well, because when you watch Emmanuel Pregnon get in that stance where he's got his hands on his knees, his back is hunched over, and he's just this hulking dude, it does resemble the Pokemon Blastoise quite a bit. So great eye there, and a creative eye as well from Tyler, who you guys should follow his work. No, really, that's the username. Someone, CS7. Marcus is the Mike Evans of draft content. It's high praise. It's very high praise. You're not gonna hear me say anything other than Mike Evans being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer legend. I won't recognize what else is going on in his career. Tampa Bay Buccaneer legend. Matt, $10 super chat. Finally able to catch a live stream. Howdy from Amarillo, Texas, guys. Wow. Shout out to Amarillo, Texas. Never been? I guess I need to. And if I do, hey, Matt, share some barbecue together. Texas is a great place for that. But I appreciate you joining the live stream. And obviously, we appreciate the super chat from you as well. Brendo, $5 super chat. While in the NFLSE pod, do we refer to him as that pimp your franchise guy? Yeah, I think that's a good call out. I wish we would have seen that during the live show, but I'll make sure to relay that to Marcus. Is when he is on, he's not that franchise guy. He's that pimp your franchise guy when he is on our show. Shout out to the Fix Your Franchise or Pimp Your Franchise series that we do in the fall if you guys haven't seen that yet. $10 donation from Walt. Love you guys. You three taught me how to love football. Big ups to Marcus for getting me into NFLSE. Uncrustables forever. Wow, we love hearing that, man. Marcus is obviously somebody that we really enjoy getting to talk football with, hang out with, get to collaborate with here on the YouTube channels that we go back and forth on. So I love that you were a fan of Marcus and he was able to get you into NFLSE. Love that you're supporting both of these shows because it's cool to have great football fans, and Marcus has got a really great fan base that we love to relate to and tap into as well because you guys are awesome. Shane, $10 super chat. Need to get Marcus and Connor on the fan-sided Steelers pod after having Trevor on before. Trevor trying to collect draft analysts like Infinity Stones. Also, shout out the chef for retweeting my draft pod last week. Heck yeah, Shane. I really enjoyed being on y'all's show. I really enjoyed being on that podcast. It was a lot of fun. We got to take a deep dive into the Steelers roster and the things that they go after and just the traits that they prioritize, and obviously pick you guys' brain when I was on there. So love being on there, and I think the other guys, Marcus and Connor, would be as well. Randy, $5 super chat. Chris Brazzell is the Derek Zoolander of the NFL draft. In that he's only got one move? Right? Am I reading that? Am I getting to what you're putting down here, Randy? Where Derek Zoolander, he can only turn left? I think, right? Can he only turn right or can he only turn left? God, it's been so long since I've seen Zoolander. No, he can only turn right. He can't turn left until the very end. When he, of course, gives the world a view of Magnum. The end of the movie, saving the day. But I do actually like this analogy now that I got to the end of the road here. I think that's a good one. Chris Brazzell, the Derek Zoolander of the NFL draft. McQueen gave us a $10 super chat. When Connor gets to number 22, can we skip Marcus's input? Any Chargers fan knows him knows he's too much of a hater. We do not care for his input. Wow. Who did we pick at 22? I don't remember who we picked in the draft. Hopefully it was a good pick here because I guess Marcus has not been making friends with the Chargers fans when he's done mock drafts before. But hey, I can understand the place where Chargers fans are, having a great quarterback in Justin Herbert, having the injuries that they went through. You've got a great head coach as well. You had Jesse Minter, obviously now you don't, so you transition a little bit there. Now you got Mike McDaniel. So it's like, I can understand why Chargers fans are just very, very passionate about really nailing this number 22 overall pick because you kind of have to, right? I mean, like you've got a lot of the pieces to be successful, and they're probably tired of being close or being wild card a team and not really a legitimate contender. And the AFC is sort of at a point where the Chargers have the ability to take that next step up. So I can't remember who we picked, but hopefully it got them in the right direction on getting to that point. Let's see. The Big Drew, $5 super chat. Nothing stronger than the bond between a middle-aged man and his favorite mid-round draft prospect. Notice me, Martin Klein, who is no, who's the Michigan tight end? It's not Martin. Who is it? Marlin. Okay, that was I read the name and I was like, that's close, but that's not quite correct. Who's the mid-round prospect that I like the most? I shouted this out on the Blue Chip Committee episode, but it might be like Albert Regis from Texas A&M or Cyrus Allen, the wide receiver from Cincinnati. One of those. I feel like it's one of those guys would be my pick there. All right. Let's keep rolling here. Actually, I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, let me know, like, who is your favorite mid-round prospect that you would absolutely stand on the table for, that you've made your entire personality here for this draft season. Salenti gave us a $10 super chat in addition to what he was talking about with which wide receivers are only play one side of the field and if those guys are going to be draft busts because they only play one side of the field. Said the busts include Kevin White, Corey Coleman, Dorial Green-Beckham, D.D. Westbrook, and a litany of late guys, David Bell, Josh Dodson, Javon Baker. From last year, it was Jack Besh and Trey Harris. Whoa, 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 whoa. We are not giving up on Jack Besh. Trey Harris, I wasn't the biggest fan of anyways, but I think that he could be good in that offense. With the Chargers, I do think that he landed in a good spot, but we are not giving up on Jack Besh. But the data point does stand, and I think that is an interesting one that Salenti brought up. And to be honest with you, it's probably something that I'm going to take a look at every single year. Now, Charlie gave us a $20 super chat. Would you guys hate R. Mason Thomas at number 22? GAC. What's GAC? Says the Chargers are high on him, on Thomas. They need a speed rusher to replace OA. Also think receiver might be a sneaky need. The Chargers have been in on receivers during the offseason. Boston, question mark. I think receiver is a little bit more of a potential pick at 22 than people are willing to admit. Do I think it's the favorite? No. But if they love Boston, or certainly if any of the big three guys get there, well, I don't think they'd pick Lemon. They wouldn't pick Lemon. Tate, I could see them picking if they believe he's going to be like that wide receiver one for them. And the same with Tyson. Boston's different than the other receivers that they have outside of, Gaston. So I could see that. I don't think they prioritize like Concepcion. I think it would have to be the right receiver to answer your question. But I do see that. I see the wide receiver room and tight end room with the Chargers as good and a lot of names. But if they could still get like a true wide receiver one, I think they would do it, especially if it's somebody who commands that X role. So I think Boston's a good shout out here. I don't think they take R. Mason Thomas at number 22. I just don't think that he is thought of that highly as a prospect. I think he's somebody that they would target like round 2, maybe trade up a little bit to go get him, but I can't see him at 22. If they want a speed rusher at 22, if Akeem Messidor is there, I think he makes sense. I wonder if like that's the beginning of Malachi Lawrence's range, but even that seems maybe a little bit high for him. I could see speed rusher, but I just don't think at 22. Let me make sure that I'm not forgetting an edge rusher here. Let's see. I think Cassius Howe fits at that point. I just think there's better options later. Like, again, Malachi Lawrence maybe, R. Mason Thomas, probably your targets if you can get him on day 2 in round 2. Like Romello Height, Kieran Crawford. Those are guys that I would think about. I just don't think that they're going to do it at 22, but I do think it's a good question. I think it's a good question to raise because I think there's a possibility of it. I don't think so. Shane, $2 super chat, said Ty Simpson, no. So maybe Shane is taking back all the good things that I said, or that they said about me coming on the show. They probably regret it at this point. I just think that Tyson's probably going to be an early first or a late first, early second round type of a quarterback. And until the Steelers do something, what am I supposed to do at that point? CT, wait, just gave us another $1 donation. I like this. I like this trend that we got going on here. Still lost in between, $5 super chat. Someone cue the Kurt Angle "You Suck" music with the Ty Simpson pick. That's what I need. That's what I need. Turn full heel for it. Trying to get the Steelers a quarterback and they hate me for it. Class Clown, $5 super chat. Been listening to that franchise guy since 2018 and first year listener of NFLSE. Appreciate all that you do, and I'll never forgive you for drafting Day 3 David at 10. Is it David Bailey? Day 3 David. I'm not that low on him, but the alliteration. I do love a good alliteration. Day 2 David? That's a little bit better. I'm somewhat skeptical on David Bailey, even outside of the great first step release that he has, but Day 3. I can't ride with you there, Class Clown. But I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support that you've given Marcus over the years. I'll speak for him there. I know that he feels the same. And then appreciate you hanging out with NFLSE over the last year. Appreciate you coming over and hanging out with us. Next super chat. Mr. Jack Matt says, the chat thinks he's an E-Man Worry clone, but he's not. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is the player that Jack Matt is referencing. And I agree, but I'm sort of like a bad person to ask about this because I was skeptical of E-Man Worry. And if he goes to a different team, I don't know if he's the player that he is today. Like, I don't know if we think about him in that regard because he's maybe being asked to play more traditional safety or closer to the box. And I feel like he struggled with both of those things at South Carolina. And so there are certainly things about Emmanuel McNeil Warren's game that would make you not want to relate him to E-Man Worry from what we saw from E-Man Worry this past season with Seattle. But if you look at E-Man Worry as a prospect and Emmanuel McNeil Warren as a prospect, I can see how we get there. I don't see them the same. He's not my comp for them, but I think it's just a worthwhile conversation, a worthwhile shout out there from Jack Matt. Boston Ryan, $5 super chat. If my hat arrives without autographs, I send it back. Well, I didn't autograph any of the hats. Boston Ryan, I cannot remember if I was supposed to autograph your hat or not, because sometimes people have asked me to do that, so now I might feel really bad, and if so, we will remedy that. We obviously will connect, but if not, and you were just trying to sneak a free autograph out of it, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. We'll autograph all the hats at the first live show that we have. Boston Ryan, another one. If Chris Bell was healthy, how high would he go? Again, I'm not the right person to ask about Chris Bell because I'm not sure I would have had him in my top 50 even if he was fully healthy. Like, I'll see where he comes in when it's all said and done, but I think he's a super explosive player, but I don't know, man. I don't really love how Louisville used him. I don't really think he developed as a route runner. I think he's a great sort of like underneath yards after the catch guy. But to me, he is still a developmental wide receiver. And now he's coming off of an ACL tear. I've always seen him more as a like mid-day 2 type of a receiver. And some other people have talked about him like he's a late first rounder. And I'm just not there with that conversation. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. Like, I get it. But I think there's so much polish to his game that he needs to separate a lot better to get the most out of that speed and not just be like a slant and take the ball and go type of a receiver when he was at his best when he was at Louisville. Obama been pooling. $5 super chat. So glad that came here just in time to see the little guppies close the show. Wash your damn hands, Trevor. Well, these hands, they're squeaky clean, baby. D. Sauter, $5. Sup, dirty hands, and prompt reader. It's funny. What steered you both to start covering the draft? Also, what's your favorite draft memory, moment in your life? It's a great question. I really started to care about the NFL draft, honestly, like through Madden. I played a lot of Madden growing up, and I have said this before on this show. I was so much more interested in the team building side of things than necessarily even like playing the games. So I really started to love the NFL draft through Madden as I was, making my team better each year. Obviously, the draft is a big way to do that. And then through that, I started to really care about the real NFL draft. And the Buccaneers, outside of the John Gruden Super Bowl years, when I was growing up, not very good. So they always had a very high draft pick. We were always not a good football team. So I was always thinking of like how they could be better. And so that's what really got me into the draft. And O'Connor is kind of the same way with him covering the Jets. Just the draft is so much a part of those franchises for a long time. So that's really how I got started with it. And then favorite draft memory, man, I don't know if I have a favorite draft memory. I've really enjoyed, of course, like being on the desk and doing the shows, getting to do this professionally. It's really, really cool. I love doing my first draft show ever that I did with Peter Report, my first year when I was there covering the Bucks, and that was that 2017 draft. And we just set up a little studio and a little like side room at One Buck Place, and it was really cool. But I also have a memory that when I was in college and we were watching the draft and the Bucks drafted Daquan Bowers in the second round, it obviously did not work out for them, but at the time we could not have been more pumped. And my friend was recording when it was happening, and I literally jumped on him in the camera because we were so excited. But it's just that joy of draft weekend, man. It's been a lot of fun basically for as long as I can remember. So really good first question here in the super chats. Love that. Tony Lee said, give us a $50 super chat because Tony's the absolute man. If you're the Jets, would you rather have Lemon and AJ Halsey or Thieneman and Omar Cooper Jr. You guys are the best. Let's get to 60K before the end of the month. Fun fact, we're here at the end of March. We did, in fact, hit 60K. We appreciate you guys so much for subscribing to the show. Thieneman and Omar Cooper Jr. or Lemon and AJ Halsey? Thieneman's my highest graded player there. I think the answer for me is Lemon and Halsey. Those are just two of like my guys. So I feel like I have to. Like, even if maybe the combined number of where these guys are on the big board, maybe it's a little bit better with Omar Cooper Jr. and Dylan Thieneman. I feel like just looking at those names and thinking about it, I'd rather go Mekhi Lemon and AJ Halsey, just because I've loved those dudes throughout the entire draft process. Randy, $2 super chat is the greatest hat ever. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, we appreciate you buying a hat and supporting the show, Randy. And shout out to everybody else who bought an NFLSE hat as well. We do still have some white hats available, not very many. So if you want a hat, now's the time to definitely get one. Just type in Shopify and NFL Stock Exchange or NFLSE show, and the link should come up. But we also have the description in a lot of our YouTube videos as well. So you can see the description, or you can see the link in the description below. Andrew, $10 or $5 super chat, really putting the cart ahead of the horse here. But when do you guys start thinking about summer scouting? Also, predictions for who has the top pick in 2027. I think it's going to be either the Cardinals or the Miami Dolphins. Like, the Miami Dolphins have one of the worst rosters that I've seen in a long, long time. They have Malik Willis, so there's a chance that they could surprise a couple of teams with big wins. The Cardinals are a more talented team top to bottom, but they've got basically nothing at the quarterback position right now, and it's very uninspiring. But I think Miami or Arizona is probably gunning for that number one overall pick right now. And we really don't turn the page to summer scouting until we get done with the draft. Like, yeah, of course, we know a handful of the big names that are going to be in next year's class that we're excited to scout, but Connor and I really put all of our energy into a draft class while it is here. So we really don't get into the 2027 class in summer scouting until, a couple of weeks before we'll start to record our episode. So that's normally when we turn the page, is when we get done with draft grades and all that good stuff. But very good question there. Trinidaddy, $10 super chat. Sneak dissing is the act of insulting someone behind their back. So sneak drafting would be whatever Trevor concocted to the Jets on PFF behind Connor's back. What did I do here? Wait a second. What did I do? I do something on the free agency mock draft? It was a sneak diss? Or was I just drafting for the Jets a bunch? I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where we were for that. But no, if I got to diss Connor, I'm not going to sneak diss him. We're on the show together. It's man to man, baby. Look you straight in the eye while I do it. Sully, $5 super chat. Hey, it's me, the guy with the giant ass head again. I didn't get to respond last show, but for context, in fitted hats, I wear an 8 or an 8 1/4. Brother, that's a huge head. There's a lot of ball knowledge going on in there. I mean, we gotta look into bigger hats. That's what I'm here. We got to look into bigger hats. Sully's at least got to get one. Because Sully, you've been a fan of the show for a long time. You get into super chats, regular chats, all that kind of stuff. I would love to get you a hat. So I'm going to try to work on getting bigger hats because, honestly, my friend, you deserve one. And we appreciate you supporting the show. Pow, $5 super chat. Can we get a bad lip reading for Trevor as the next cold open? I feel like the possibilities are endless. And I don't want that. I feel like that's a great idea that I do not want. I don't want to manifest that into the universe because there could be some truly bad or hilarious lip reading going on there. Shout out to, you guys remember the bad lip reading era? When that was like the funniest Facebook content that existed. Was those NFL like behind the scenes like bad lip reading. That was like the peak of comedy in 2010, 2011, whatever it is. Shout out. This is a simpler time. Simpler time. Shane, $5 super chat. Great way to spend my day off with the Addicts. Let's go. We appreciate you, Shane. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out with the Addicts because that is always the goal. Everybody kind of talks about like how great, the show is because it just creates this environment for everybody to sit back, relax, talk some football, and it's just like hanging out with your friends. We hope that that's what every single show is like, so hopefully that one was no different. Shout out to you, Shane. Jay Smooth, can I purchase an edge rusher for the Patriots at number 31, please? Can I remember who we put at number 31 to the Patriots? Did we give him Malachi Lawrence? Was that the Malachi Lawrence draft? Did we get Malachi Lawrence in there? I feel like we got Malachi Lawrence in there. And if not any edge rusher, I think you got to be specific with certain edge rushers. I mean, because Keldrick Falk's totally different than R. Mason Thomas. You got to give us the specific edge rusher that you want, and maybe we could manifest it there. But hopefully we did give him an edge rusher now that I see that there was super chat about it. I do think that edge rusher certainly is on the table for the Patriots, regardless of that super chat there. Steve, $5 super chat. How much to not have the Chiefs take an offensive tackle in round 1? How much for a defensive end in round 1? Well, the $5 is more than generous, more than enough there to get in on the show, Steve. We appreciate you. I don't think the Chiefs are going to take an offensive tackle at 9. I wouldn't have it off of the table, but it doesn't feel like they're going to go that direction. I understand that they have Kingsley Suamatia and they have Jalen Moore, but to me, Jalen Moore is on a 1-year contract, and I felt like he was overpaid anyways. Suamatia, you tried him at tackle. It didn't really work. You had to move him back inside to guard. I think tackle is more of a possibility, or at least I would think about tackle more than it feels like the Chiefs and even Chiefs fans do. But if anything, it doesn't feel like it's an option for them at number 9. It feels like, if anything, they would want to capitalize on that group of Caleb Lomu, Maxi Onacher, maybe Caden Proctor, maybe Blake Miller, like that group of offensive tackles that could be at the late first round. That's where I feel like if the Chiefs are going to go offensive tackle, that's the direction that they would go. Birdman gave us a $10 super chat here. Says, had my bachelor party this weekend, NFLSE on Monday. What a turnaround. Hopefully it was a fantastic hangover cure for you on your on your bachelor party. If you're of drinking age, of course. And you drank responsibly, of course. But I hope you had a wonderful time at the bachelor party, and congrats on your upcoming marriage there, Birdman. Glad that we could continue the party coming from the weekend into a free agency mock draft on a Monday. Bryce, $2 super chat. Take your pick, sight or sound? Sight. Easy. Like, I'm assuming that, like, you can only have one or the other. I'd rather see than hear. Just because I'm a big visual guy anyways. You know what? Sometimes I was going to say, it'd be kind of tough to, like, not hear the sound of your own voice. But sometimes I hate the sound of my own voice. So maybe that's a slight positive. Yeah, sight. Yeah, I would do sight for sure. Over if it's like one or the other, you don't have the other one. Big Billy, bonjour from the south of France. My goodness, what an insane flex! Stoked to make one of these lives while in the south of France. I'm honored. Connor, where did you get that RDR2 inspired poster behind you? Oh, that's Red Dead Redemption 2 poster behind you. Well, I unfortunately can't answer that for him, but we'll have to ask him. I'll ask him on the show. One of these shows I will remember. But Big Billy, living your best life in the south of France. Shout out to you. Part of my wife and I's honeymoon, we went to Nice. Kind of just like spent a couple of days there. Wonderful. Beautiful place, especially for a honeymoon, I would say, when you're sort of in the attitude of like, money doesn't matter. You're happy. You're the happiest in the world. Oh, who cares? That's a great place to be of that mindset. Corey, $10 super chat. Washington Jr., the running back from Arkansas, Mike Washington Jr., feels like a great replacement for K9. Is there any other running backs that you like for the Hawks? Feels like mid-second will be the move since John Schneider loves trading back, especially with 4 picks. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Jonah Coleman guy still. I think he could be a really efficient back for you. Is he going to hit home runs? No, but he's going to get like the yards that you need him to get. I like him a lot more than we did the Colab mock draft series with Marcus. Marcus was like, if you need 2 yards, he'll get you 2 yards. If you need 10 yards, he'll get you 2 yards. I am higher on Jonah Coleman than that. So I would consider him an option there because you're not going to have to take him in the first round. If you want more speed, yeah, I think Mike Washington Jr., to your point, Jarian Price, I think, gives you that as well. But I think you could wait for running back as well. Like, Seth McGowan, Jaden Ott, like there's a lot of backs. Hey, Katron Allen, maybe a little bit later in the draft. I think these are guys that you feel pretty good about. If you want somebody who's a little bit more shifty, like Emmett Johnson starts to come into play, although he didn't have a great combine. So I think he'll be probably somebody that you could get in the mid rounds. But there's a lot of different flavors of running backs that after Jeremiah Love, you can kind of get whoever you want. It's not going to be like, man, we're going to miss out because all these running backs are going to go, before we come on the board in the late second, late third, whatever. They'll have options to be able to get running back. I think Jonah Coleman would be my favorite, but Katron Allen too. I'd give a shot to Jaden Ott or Seth McGowan. Like I like both of those guys too. So those would probably be the names to know for me in that category. Pausing my Project Hail Mary read. Better make my Chargers better, unlike Joe Ortiz. That was from Herb to Lad. Should have read that at the start. I would have known it was going to be a Chargers super chat. Hopefully we did make the Chargers better. Yeah, I think the Chargers fans are upset that it's been a little bit more quiet of an offseason for them, but I can understand not wanting to like really overspend if it's not guys that you felt like were worth it. So for the Chargers, hey, they got to get better on the interior offensive line. They got to get better at edge rusher, and that's just something that they got to focus on going into the draft. But I think they're going to have the ability to do it, obviously starting at pick number 22. Short stacked Goblin, $5 super chat. Online betting killed Vegas. I'd rather get drunk and make 15 leg parlays at home. Also working on Trevor's height based on the helmets in the background. Wait, what helmets in the background? My height or Connor's height? Because Connor's got helmets in the background. So I feel like that one was a Connor one. Because everybody thinks that I'm short already. Also, we were talking about Nashville as a better weekend than Vegas, and I would agree with that. So I think that's where this super chat came from. I don't think that online betting killed Vegas because I've been out to Vegas a couple of times, like since online betting has been huge. And it's not like casinos are less bumping or anything. It's just, I think it's a preference. Like I enjoy Vegas. I do. Not as much as I enjoy other places. Also, 15 leg parlay. Good luck, my friend. I hope you hit it. Michael, $5 super chat. Connor, congrats on the baby boy Stratton, Oakmont, Rogers. That's amazing. Start bench cut. Honey Nut Cheerios, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Captain Crunch, berries. All right, it's very easy for me. Captain Crunch, or is it? I like regular Captain Crunch more than I like the berries. Is that controversial? I don't know if that's controversial. You guys let me know if that's controversial. I think I'm still going Captain Crunch as the start. I'm benching Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I'm cutting Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios, classic, great cereal. But those are two juggernauts that you're going up against there. So that would be mine, and we got to hear Connor's a little bit later. Short stack Goblin. Mac Wilson Sr. said that he doesn't want a trade. Well, I'm sure he doesn't. But can they upgrade? Oh, no. Okay, I see. This is from Josh Sweat. So we were talking about Josh Sweat potentially asking for a trade out of Arizona, and Mac Wilson, I do remember him tweeting out the ball cap emoji to say cap, which means it's not true. So I do remember that being the case. But hey, we'll see. I don't think, well, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I think that Josh Sweat's situation could mean a lot towards how much the Cardinals maybe lean on Arvell Reese or David Bailey. So we'll see when we get a little bit closer to the draft. What we have next? Nash gave us a $2.79 super chat. Vikings QB battle goes 5'9" versus 9-5. So 9-5, I'm guessing, is JJ McCarthy, and then 5'9" is of course Kyler Murray. There you go. I don't think it's going to be much of a battle. I think Kyler's going to win that one very easily. Frederick, $2 super chat. As a Browns fan, give me O-line or give me death. I could definitely see that. The power blocking offensive lineman that you would draft at number 6, I would say, are Francis Mauigoa, or maybe they'll convince themselves on Monroe Freeling and the potential that he has there. But at 24, I think you'll definitely have options for, like Blake Miller, Caden Proctor, Maxi Onacher. I think that these are guys who can play pretty powerful for you as well. So it feels like they're leaning more into that power run game, the man and gap scheme run blocking concept. So that's the direction that they're going to go. Maybe they'll double dip at 6 and 24. I don't think they will. I think they'll go with skill position, but at one of those picks. But they're definitely leaning more towards a power run game with the guys that they added in free agency. Scepter, $2 super chat. Who's the ultimate Safeway pick at number 10 to Cincinnati? Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk, 100%. Is the no question about it. He's the Safeway pick to Cincinnati. There's no point in picking Keldrick Falk, if you ask me. You've got Keldrick Falks at home that already kind of haven't worked out. So, yeah, that would be my answer there. Ryan, $5 super chat. How would you rank Awane, Mauigoa, and Fano purely as offensive guard prospects? I've been seeing some buzz around the Giants taking Awane after trading down or even at number 5. So, I think my answer is like I'd have Fano as the best. I think I'd probably have Owane next and then Maui Noa, but I do think all three of these guys would be good options at guard. I just love how Fano moves. I just love how athletic he is. He is just a big, strong, well-coordinated, good core strength. Like, he's just a great athlete, and I gravitate towards those guys so much, especially when they already have polished tape in a lot of different areas. So I think Fano I would put at the top of that list, but Owane's right after him as a rock-solid, very steady, good, impactful offensive guard prospect. And then Maui Noa, I still think could be a really good guard as well. So it's a great question. That's how I would rank those three, but I do think that all three of them could be good options. Fano, obviously more of like a zone blocker. Owane, I think, was better at zone blocking as well, but he can do a lot of power concept stuff. And then Maui Noa, to me, is more of that man and gap scheme, power downhill between the tackles running type of an offensive lineman. Clem the Goat, $5 super chat. Cards fan here, and an addict while at work. Salute emoji. I'm curious, what you guys think you would rather do? Simpson late first / at pick 34, or build the team for a 2027 rookie? I think because of my projection of the Cardinals right now, I would rather skip on Simpson if I'm the Cardinals. You have an opportunity where I think the team is going to be bad enough to where you could be gunning for the number 1 overall pick next year. And I think that whoever's going to be in the class, the number 1 overall, even though I hate the, next year's quarterback class is always better kind of a thing, whoever's going to be number 1 is going to be a higher rated quarterback than Ty Simpson. So I would not be picking Ty Simpson for the Cardinals. And they're going to be tempted by it, but I would not do that. Even though I think that Simpson can be a solid quarterback in this league, and I think he could be a starter and win you some ball games. I just wouldn't do it if I was the Cardinals because they're going to have the opportunity to really get a splash quarterback next offseason, I think. Eric, $20 super chat. First time watching live. Appreciate you tuning in, Eric. Amazing dudes and an amazing show. Thank you. As a Niners fan, I keep seeing KC mocked to San Francisco. Shanahan likes a run blocking and middle of the field contested catch wide receiver. These don't seem to be KC's strong points. Am I wrong? I think that KC could be a good blocker, but no, I mean, it's not his biggest forte. But when it comes to the middle of the field contested catch stuff, I think KC can be a strong middle of the field type of a wide receiver. But, I think that Elijah Surratt, Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard, I think those guys are more of what you're thinking about from that perspective. It's just a matter of do the 49ers want more of that or not? Do they think they have that on their roster? Do they want that? It's always the tricky part of, okay, you could identify how a coach or a general manager has drafted, but are they going to go in a different direction because they've already hit those characteristics of wide receiver? It's sort of tough to tell. I still think KC is an option for San Francisco because where you are right, Shanahan does like those things. They still need that explosive after the catch type of a guy. And I think that KC fits that to a T. But I think it's tendencies and preferences of coaches and general managers are always worth bringing up and talking about. So I think that's a very good point. Spencer, $5 super chat. I struggle with the Love at number 4 overall process when Pollard and Spears are still on the roster, especially with the defensive head coach in Saleh. I lean Styles at 4. I think it's certainly a possibility. And to be honest with you, I wonder if I would be talking about Love this much at number 4 if it weren't for a lot of mainstream media people, some plugged-in people talking about him as the option there at number 4. I think that Styles would probably be the better pick there for them because I agree. They're not exactly a running back away from now immediately competing. I think that Love is a fantastic prospect. I like him. He's going to be in my top 5 at the very least, maybe even my top 3. But I agree. I think he's an interesting play. He's immediately the best running back for the Titans. Let's be very, very clear. Is that better than the alternative of drafting Sonny Styles or Orville Reese or whoever it is at 4 and then getting running back later? I'd probably lean that strategy if I'm being honest with you. So I think that's, again, a good thing to bring up there from Spencer. Sir Brooks said, just sent Bucky and more for Loveland. Tep SF. I don't know what that is. So this is a dynasty trade. Bucky Irving and DJ Moore for Loveland. Is this supposed to be Tet? I don't know. I'm sorry, Sir Brooks. I'm not sure what Tep FS is. I love Loveland a lot, though. I think he's going to get a ton of work this upcoming season because we saw down the second half of last season how much great chemistry he had with Caleb Williams. So I do think that acquiring Loveland in Dynasty is a good play. Dennis, $5 Super Chat. New viewer here. First, you look just like Tom Pelissero, Connor. Also, as a Bears fan, I hope we get Woods or Falk. Poles has made us not be a best player available. I think Woods is interesting. I don't think Woods would be what Dennis Allen wants. Falk, yes, he's very much a Dennis Allen type as a bigger defensive end who can defend the run. But when it comes to interior defensive line, they really struggled as a team to defend the run last year. So I'm looking at, Caden McDonald or Christian Miller. I think those guys are both better choices than Peter Woods, who I really feel like is just a attacking 3-technique defensive tackle. I think they need somebody who can really hold the line of scrimmage, and that's, Caden Proctor or Christian Miller. Christian Miller is my DT1 in this class. I think he's fantastic. I think he'd be perfect for the Chicago Bears, even though he is not the flashier pick there. Kyle, $2. Any impact defensive ends at 35. Desperate need for the Titans. Let's see. Gabe Akis, I think, is in that conversation. Zion Young. Maybe TJ Parker gets there. If you want more of a pass rusher, like Malachi Lawrence could be in the conversation. I think Derek Moore would be great for them as well with how much power that he plays with. You wait a little bit longer. I think Kieran Crawford maybe in the late second, early third, because they would pick early second. So then early third round, guys like Kieran Crawford, maybe Jay Sean Barnum as well gets into that conversation. A little bit later, maybe like Max Llewellyn, Caden Curry. I think there'll be plenty of options for them to get an edge rusher at some point beyond number 4, if, say, they go Jeremiah Love at number 4. Dreadnought, $2 Super Chat. Really hope the Titans get Styles. Running back is a trap at 4. I wouldn't say it's a trap. But based on sort of what I just said before, I do think that there are better ways that we could do that. Aiden, why would someone go Vega over Fano? I think that you would go with Vega Owane over Spencer Fano because of the experience that Vega has playing that left guard spot for multiple years. Vega is built a little bit bigger. He's built a little thicker, the way that sort of like guards are traditionally built. I wonder if Vega, you feel better about him as a downhill runner on the interior because he's shown it as a guard. Both of these guys have really fast hands. Both of them are pretty good athletes, although I think that Fano is a really good athlete. And Fano gives you the guard and tackle flexibility. So I can understand wanting to go Vega over Fano if you are more of a downhill power run scheme type of a team. But ultimately, I do think that Fano is the better prospect. So I would have him overall over Ioane. But those are sort of the reasons why I think you could go Vega over Fano if you wanted to. 21 Chill 12. I know the hype is around Francis out of the U, but why doesn't his running mate on his Cooper get a bit of hype as an early day 3 guard option? So I haven't watched Cooper yet. I need to get to him before we get to draft day because I know people have talked about him as well. I think the Miami offensive line overall was really nice. I've watched Markel Bell, but I have not watched Cooper. So I need to get to Cooper, and this is a good reminder to say that there is some hype for him. So I still need to watch Cooper. Sharks for Soccer. Trev, are you shave your head confident about AJ? As an Eagles fan, I get tired of hearing about it, especially since nothing is going to happen before June 1st. I'm not gonna bet that I'm gonna shave my head. But yeah, I mean, I am pretty confident. Like, I am pretty confident that AJ is pretty much done in Philadelphia. Like, I don't know if it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen until June 1st. But I don't know if it's June 1st and there's a handshake deal behind the scenes. I don't know if it's gonna be in training camp once we get closer to the season or at the trade deadline. But I do not think he ends next season on the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't see it, man. I just feel as though he is not motivated to play on that team anymore. That's just the way that it feels and the way that it looks for me. Preston, $5 Super Chat. Why is Vega not seen as the top 10 guy? He's unbelievable. This is the best guard since Quentin Nelson, and I feel like his absolute floor is number 14. I mean, I think it just kind of comes down to how much you value a guard, because I don't think that Vega is as good as Quentin Nelson is. I don't think he played with quite as much power. I don't think he had that quite a mean streak that Quentin Nelson had. But he's a really, really good guard prospect. I think there are a lot of people, maybe I'm going to be one of them, that is going to have Vega Owane as a top 10 overall player in the class. I don't know if that means he goes top 10, but I think that your question, Preston, is more of just like, hey, why aren't we talking about him as a top 10 prospect? I fully think there's a world where I could end up with him as a top 10 prospect because guard is one of the final positions that I have to get final evals on from these guys. So that might be the case. Ethan, $5 super chat. What do you think the odds are that the Vikings take edge or wide receiver in round one with the reports of them possibly trading Addison and or Grenard? I think it's much more likely that they take wide receiver instead of edge rusher because they still have Andrew Van Ginkel and they still have Dallas Turner, who really has to pan out for them, even like independent of whether Jonathan Grenard's on the team or not. So I don't think they're taking edge round one. I think that they will wait a year to see if Dallas Turner is like that big time of a difference maker for them there before they invest a premium pick in there again. Not to say they can't go edge rusher at some point in the draft. I just don't see it in the first round. Wide receiver, much more realistic. I don't know how much longer Addison's going to be with the Vikings, and so I think that's a very good shout out, and I think wide receiver is on the table for them at 18. You know, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, any of those guys, to be honest with you. Grant, hi. Where will you guys be live during the draft? We are working on that. We're working on plans, and we are going to let you know where we are going to be live during the draft. Most likely, we'll not be here on this channel. Connor's probably going to be doing something for the NBC. I'm still working on things on my end. But we will do recap things here on this channel, but we don't do live streams on this channel. So we will make sure that we let you guys know. We appreciate you asking, and we appreciate you guys wanting to support us at our different platforms there. Inquisition 3000. Hola, Shrimperinos. Can you please explain why everyone has Reese to the Jets at number 2, but no one has Styles? Is it just scheme? In my opinion, Styles looks way better. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of comes down to the fact that Styles is an off-ball linebacker, and they just signed Demario Davis, who I'm sure that they are very, 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 very excited about playing as the middle linebacker there. Now, Demario Davis and Sonny Styles, really nice 1-2 combo there in the middle. But I think people look at number 2 overall and they want edge rush production. Like they want premium position production. An off-ball linebacker most of the time does not give you that. Most of the time. It can. Most of the time it does not. Edge rusher, different story. Especially if you are coming from a 3-4, or if you are turning into a 3-4 front, which the Jets look like they are doing. You get the outside linebacker in Arville Reese, and he brings you more value innately just as somebody who could potentially get after the passer. So I think that is the reason why we don't have that conversation more. Ian, $5. David Edwards was my high school quarterback. We ran the wing tee and the triple option. Was a sight to behold. That's crazy. David Edwards, to think about who he is now as a guard in the NFL, being a high school quarterback. But some of the people that made it to the NFL, a lot of them played quarterback in high school because they were just the best athletes at their high school. Atlas Duval, Sup Smurfs, what team have you guys had the best interactions with? Oh, what teams have you guys had the best interactions with? Have certain teams stood out from a media perspective compared to others? Also, Gators back-to-back champs loading. Well, that's tough because we lost in the second round. But teams that have had the best interactions. I mean, like at the Combine, I have the opportunity to go on a lot of different team channels. I mean, like I love going on with the Jets. The Jets are awesome. I just love their whole staff. They're always wanting to talk ball. It's just so much fun. Like even with Connor being the Jets guy, it's so much fun to go on the Jets show. The Chargers have been awesome as well. It's always great working with them. I'm with the Cardinals, I feel like every single year. It's been really cool to work with the Panthers a little bit more with me living in Charlotte. And so, getting to just go down the street to Bank of America Stadium has been really cool to get to do that. The Browns have been awesome as well. I've really, that one's a sort of a new one, getting to go on their flagship show a lot. But them, the Steelers, I mean, there's a lot of times when you get to like the official team media stuff, like everyone is a delight to work with. They really are. Like it's a lot of really passionate people, whether it's the people in front of the camera or behind the camera. They're always trying to like think of new ways to cover the league and best ways and cover the team the way that fans really want. And so I really don't have a lot of bad experiences, if any, with official team stuff because it's always fun getting to work with people who are trying to make the best content possible at the highest level. So a lot of teams are like that, but a couple of those that I shouted out there are always really fun to work with, and they're really great to work with. Andrew, $5. I just got a job with Weber State University on their recruiting staff. Wildcats to the Natties, boys. Congratulations, Andrew. Congratulations. That's awesome. I know the football world, especially that world, being on a recruiting staff, really tough to get into. So shout out to you for grinding, making the connections, having a great resume, and making that happen, man. Congratulations on the job, and Wildcats indeed to the Natty. Noah, who's the better prospect, McCoy or Will Johnson? I would say Jermon McCoy. 2024 Jermon McCoy, I liked better than I liked Will Johnson. So I would say McCoy, but obviously it's interesting with both of those guys coming off of injury heading into the NFL. Supernova. So thank you for all the content, Half Pints. This podcast really has truly been my gateway drug into the draft world. Is 2027 going to be as generational as people say, or do you think it's becoming overhyped? I think the natural answer here is that it's a little overhyped because I think a lot of draft classes naturally get very overhyped. However, there is a lot of talent in that 2027 class. So I can totally understand why people are getting really excited about it. We never have a really concrete opinion on that until we get to summer scouting. So we will see you guys back when we're talking about these positions and these players in summer scouting, and we get to really put them under the microscope. That's always very fun for us to do. I think naturally I would say that it's overhyped because it always feels like draft classes get overhyped. But the starting point for overhyped for next year's class, I think, is really high, and there's a reason why it's really high. So I am very excited to get to the summer to evaluate a lot of those guys. Coop, $10 super chat. Can Skylar Bell surpass Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion for wide receiver 5 and be a top 40 pick? Jack question, is Thieneman at all in play at 16 after Cisco and Belton signings? If no Lemon and Tyson, just go with Fano or Vega. I don't think they'll go offensive line in the first round. I think it's more likely that they would go Thieneman if he's available at 16, which is maybe becoming less and less likely at this point. But I don't think Skylar Bell is going to get picked ahead of Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion. However, I think there's a world where Bell is close to top 40 or top 50. Like, I really do think late second, early third round, like, I think a lot of teams are going to like Skylar Bell in that range. So I think that the shout out is valid there, but I don't quite think that he's going to overtake Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion. Mikey gave us a $5 super chat, said Trevor's the Mike Evans of Chris Ballard's when drafting for the Patriots. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I don't know. Mikey, you'll have to let us know on the next live show whether that was meant to be a compliment. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Hey, Chris Ballard's had a lot of longevity as a general manager, so I'll take it. And Mike Evans, of course, Buccaneer legend. I'll take it. I don't know if I'm supposed to take it, but I'll take it. Special Eddie. $7.77 is a super chat. Please no wide receiver or offensive line for the Raiders. They just drafted Besh, Grant, and Rodgers and forgot about them last year. I do agree. When I do picks for the Raiders at 34, I think that wide receiver could still be on the table for them. I think offensive line could be. But I do, when I look at the depth chart and I go over it, I do think about those guys that are there. Now, the difference is it's the same general manager, but it's a different coaching staff. So is the coaching staff going to say, yeah, we love these guys, we're going to develop these guys? Or are they going to say, I mean, those were mid-round picks that the last staff tried to invest in. We're not really too big of fans. It just kind of depends. Names on the depth chart only matter if they have some sort of powerful connection to the players that are going to, or to the coaches that are going to be coaching them and putting them where they're supposed to be as like starters or depth players. So I just, they've got names. I don't know how much those names mean to the new coaching staff. So I think it's appropriate to remember that as well. Nolan, Bengals trading up for Banks? I think they would like Caleb Banks. Trading up for a player with a foot injury history at 330 pounds would be tough. If he makes it to them in the second round, I could understand it. Trading up for a player with injury issues, I don't think a lot of teams will want to do. Jeff, $20 super chat. Congrats on the kid, Connor. Shout out to over 3.5K people watching. 75K subs is going to happen. We appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you for manifesting. Thank you for being one of those 3,500 people that were watching live on the free agency mock draft video. We had over 4,000 people watching at one point, which is unbelievable to say. You guys are the coolest. We love you so much. It is so much fun to hang out with that many of you when we do these live streams, especially ones as fun as mock drafts like that. So we appreciate you guys, everybody watching live, and everybody, of course, who watches after the fact as well. KN Thoder, a.k.a. Kent Hoder, or Ken Soder. I have to say that every single time he gives us a super chat. Missed the Sun announcement stream and the community naming session. Congrats, Connor, and don't forget, he can always change his name. I forget which name we settled in on, but you guys were phenomenal about that. I loved it. Let's see. This one's from Christian King. Over 3,500 people on the live stream. Let's go, boys. 75K subs. We're on that journey, folks, to 75K subscribers before the draft. I believe. I still believe it can happen. So if you're not a sub and you're watching this video, smash that subscriber button. We would love for you guys to be a part of the Addicts. Relevant Elephant. Love this name. Hey, Small Fries, great stuff today. With no third-round pick, can the Giants really wait until day 3 to address the gaping hole that they have next to Sexy Dexy on the defensive interior? What is their defensive interior? Let's see. Who's the backups that they have here at defensive tackle? They got Roy Robertson Harris. No, because they got Darius Alexander. Yeah. I think that they would be comfortable waiting until day 3 because they drafted Darius Alexander last year. So you're going to give him a little bit of development. You're going to give him a chance. So yes, I actually do think that they could very well wait until day 3 to address the interior of that defensive line. Jeff, $10 super chat. So that's why he took a guard at 15 for the Bucs to piss us off, and we start a full rebuild. Look, man, dark times might be ahead for the Buccaneers. That's all I'm saying. I hope not, but dark times could be ahead. Might have to get ready for it. We appreciate all the super chats that you guys gave during the mock draft episode. Appreciate you watching every single time. We'll see you guys next time.